Madam President, good morning again. Members, a special good morning to our audience and our school children from the Mud Cross Preparatory School. Welcome, we're happy to have you here. I am happy to take this opportunity to address the House and the people of Nevis to give brief updates. Madam President, I am confident that my brief actually will be brief. So it is my pleasure to give some updates on what has been happening in the Ministry of Health, Gender Affairs, and Social Empowerment. I want to begin by expressing sincere gratitude on behalf of the Ministry of Health and by extension the Nevis Island Administration to the St. Kitts and Nevis Social Security Board. Madam President, we just received a very generous donation of medical equipment valued at $60,000 US, courtesy of the Social Security Board. This figure represents 2 years, 2023 and 2024, worth of support that they generally give to areas such as healthcare. So for this donation, we were able to acquire 10 electrical beds for the Alexandria Hospital and Flamboyant Nursing Home. We acquired a dry vac suction machine for our dental unit, 2 water purification systems. These help to ensure that the machinery at the dental unit are not corroded by the hard chemicals that might be in the water system. We also acquired 2 ultrasonic scaler units, and the head dentist at the Charlestown Dental Unit was very excited about those in particular. And we acquired 2 examination beds for our community health nursing services. And while we did the official handing over ceremony recently, the nurses were indicating that even before we got to the handing over, they put the beds in use already, because that's to show that the value that these type of donations and equipment actually has on everyday healthcare. So these additions will definitely help to enhance the quality and delivery of healthcare on the island of Nevis, and thus we say thank you for Social Security for your continued commitment to partnering with us here in the Ministry of Health. Madam Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to highlight an upcoming activity. We take health, a holistic approach to healthcare in the Ministry of Health, so it's not simply about diagnosis and treatment. We also have to think about prevention and sensitization. As such, our health promotion unit will be having its annual Fun Run in the Sun relay, and that will be held tomorrow in honor of World Obesity Day, and it's under the theme of passing the baton of good health. We'll be doing a relay through Charlestown. It's a quick sprint. We encourage members of the public to come out at 2 p.m. We start at Best Buy and we end up by the Sim Daniel bust in Charlestown. So we want you to come out and just appreciate the fact that we have to do more to get out and get active. And for a little added fun, the Ministry of Health Nevis will be having an exhibition race versus the Ministry of Health St. Kitts. So that should be good fun to show that we are part of the mission for good health. Madam President, I also want to highlight a backyard gardening workshop that the ministry would have done in collaboration with the Minister of Agriculture, because healthy eating and healthy living is also a key pillar of good health. Madam President, there are also quite a number of activities that are being accomplished by our Gender Affairs Department. In the recent weeks, in February 27th, the Gender Affairs Department would have officially launched the 3rd cohort of the Boys Mentorship Program. So previously there was the NISS, Nevis International Secondary School, then we had the Gingerland Secondary School. Now we have added the Charlestown Secondary School into the fold, and so we have a complete reach in all our secondary schools in terms of the Boys Mentorship Program. And I'm happy to say that the Girls Mentorship Program is already well on its way as well. We have put together the board. We had an extraordinary number of applicants to be mentors. I think we had in excess of 25 women who applied to mentor these young ladies, and we will only be taking on around 10 young ladies in the first instance. And so right now, applications are actually open for young girls. We're starting at Charleston Secondary. So young girls at Charleston Secondary from ages of 11 to 18 can apply to be a part of this Girls Mentorship Program. It exposes you to different things, different ideas, different activities, and different people. So it is of value to everyone from every corner of the island of Nevis. While we're on the topic of women, Madam President, I want to say a happy International Women's Month to all the women here in the room as we celebrate International Women's Month in March annually. As such, the Department of Gender Affairs will be having a week of activities in recognition of International Women's Month. Part of this week of activities will include an award ceremony to recognize women who have contributed significantly to the development of Nevis in different ways. In previous years, we would have put out the categories and asked individuals to nominate to suit that category. But we expanded this year and tried something a little different, and the feedback was very positive. So we allowed individuals in the community to pick the category and nominate individuals who they saw fit to match those categories. And we had quite a number of nominations, and I just want to highlight the individuals who were selected to be the awardees for 2025. So Ms. Shabana Prince in entrepreneurship, Ms. Lorraine Archibald for community health services, Dr. Curtis Clark for mental health and well-being, Teresia Herbert, environmental health and historical conservation, and Ms. Dawn Kelly will receive the Minister's Award. Madam Speaker, we have to continue to encourage our women and our girls. We understand fully that we are the backbone of society, and we have to recognize and treat them as such. One particular activity I want to highlight during this week of celebration is that the Department of Gender Affairs and the Alexandria Hospital, both under the same umbrella ministry, have partnered to make mammograms free for the entire week for women to access. So from the 10th to the 15th, 10th to the 14th, Madam President, if you are a woman on Nevis, even in the Federation in general, you can access mammograms free of cost at the Alexandria Hospital. I want to emphasize that because I understand that sometimes finances can be a barrier, and that should never be a barrier to good health. And so we opted to make this life-saving tool, this preventative tool, free of cost to women who want or need to access that service. It is also a requirement to have a referral to access a mammogram. So you need your doctor to be able to assess whether this is appropriate for you. And individuals also reached out to say that, that can have a cost as well. And we want to encourage you, if that is a barrier, please access the doctors that we have at our health centers across the island, and they too can provide that referral free of cost. Madam President, that investment in the mammogram machine was a significant investment. And 400 women in previous, I think it was 2023, would have already benefited from free screenings. And so I'm happy that that investment is stretching even further at this time. So I think everyone should take as much advantage of that as they possibly can. Madam President, I will also draw to a close as I highlight one other activity that we're focused on in the ministry, and that is at the solid waste management, where we are expanding the recycling project. It is well on its way, Madam President, and it is on schedule, and we're looking at a timeline of May of this year. And while we're on that topic, I just want to be able to reach out to the Nevisian public and implore you to create and generate a culture of keeping our environment clean, of recycling. I've been noticing a trend, particularly throughout Charlestown. As you drive through, sometimes there's a lot of littering. We have individuals who clean every day, but on the off chance someone is sick, I do not believe that our streets should be filled with litter, because we should be responsible individuals and place them in the garbage bin. As business owners in Charlestown area, you too have to be responsible for your patrons. If you have entertainment, be responsible and encourage them to dispose properly and clean up the environment. Businesses also should not be dumping in the square in Charlestown. Those should be taken to solid waste or collected separately. So I just want to be able to encourage the public we know that Nevis is nice and we value being clean and tidy. So I want to encourage us to really adopt that mentality again if we've started losing it along the way. Madam President, I will conclude my brief statement right there, and thank you for indulging as I share some of those updates from the Ministry of Health et al.
Thank you as well, Honourable Member.